Sometimes facing an uncomfortable truth can save a life.
And I said, we can't just sit here in the silence. We just can't sit here in this pain. If we don't share our story and it happens again in our state, I'm going to feel like it's my fault.
Hey there, it's Julie. Welcome to Uncomfy, a show about sticking with moments that challenge us even when they're uncomfortable. And I know you're probably wondering, why would anybody choose to be uncomfortable? But I know from personal experience, and you probably do too, that sometimes a little discomfort has benefits if we can stay open and curious about it. And that is what we're here to explore. So let's get uncomfy. This warmer weather that we're having also brings the risk of a tragedy that we all think could not possibly happen to us. And yet, dozens of kids in the United States every year die after being accidentally left in a hot car. The nonprofit Kids and Car Safety has lobbied for years to get rear seat alerts in cars to help drivers remember when a baby is strapped in the back. And I'm joined by one of the group's volunteer parent advocates. Her name is Dawn Peabody. Dawn, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
I read that major car makers in America have agreed to make these rear seat alerts standard in all new cars by the end of this year, 2025. Of course, most of us are not driving new cars. Why is this an issue that's so important to you?
You know, backseat reminders are so important because of the way we live. I mean, we are such a busy society, and our brain is only designed to hold so many things at once. Our brain can't decipher between what's important and what's not, and things unfortunately get forgotten. You know, I also say this reminder is important because my car reminds me of everything else. If I forget my seatbelt, the wrong weight for my airbag is in there. If I forget to unplug the gas tank or the gas from my car reminds me. If I leave my most precious cargo in the vehicle, my car does nothing but act as an oven.
Yeah. You've lived this tragedy. Would you tell us about
Absolutely.
Your daughter, Maya?
Maya was 2.5 years old. The day she passed away, she was our only daughter. She was the light of our life. She is silly and long and lanky and just so much fun.
Was she the oldest child, the youngest child? Or
She was the youngest at that time, yes. She was
so
our
Maya's
youngest.
the baby. She's 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
What happened?
So we had a complete change of routine that day, which is a lot of times how this type of accident happens. We had family in town, so we went in 3 separate vehicles out to breakfast. Normally, I would take Maya to work with me, but because we had family in town, my husband put her in his family vehicle. It's not the vehicle usually the children ride in. Usually only the big kids ride in it when they go to school. Usually Maya's in the vehicle with me. So on that day, I went to work in my vehicle. My husband had Maya in his vehicle, and he stopped to get gas and then went home and did what he would normally do, jump out of the car and go play with the big kids. About an hour later, someone asked, "Where's Maya?" And he said, "Oh, she's at work with Mom." And then he thought, "Oh, no, she's sleeping with Grandma. I'll go check on Grandma." And then he realized he had left her in the family vehicle.
She'd passed away by the time he got back.
She did pass away that day, yes.
I mean, like I said, it's just the kind of horrifying experience that I'm so sorry for the loss of your baby girl.
Thank you.
It's also the kind of thing that as you tell this story over and over again, it's been 10, 15 years since Maya died. Do you encounter a lot of people who say like, yeah, well, you guys must have really messed it up? Because like, I would never do that. That's an outlier thing. Couldn't happen to me.
You know, the parents that say it couldn't happen to me are the ones that scare me the most. It's the parents that have a system in place, a fail-safe in place that are it's least likely to happen to. So it's the parents that are go. You know, I always say it's like a grocery list. If you ever, on the way home, oh, I got to get milk. 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 And the next morning you go to pour your cereal and you have no milk. Your brain, things fall off in your brain. And it like I said before, it can't decipher what's important and what's not.
I've literally left my groceries in the car. Like I put them in the trunk, I go grocery shopping. Like I just did that. But between the grocery store and my house, I get distracted with other stuff. I'm thinking about what I need to be doing when I get home. I hop out of the car, I go inside. Like an hour later, I'm like, oh yeah. Like where's that stuff I was going to cook for dinner? So, on some tiny, tiny level, I can relate to how easy it would be to forget. And yet, I think a lot of people think, well, but the baby makes noise, right? Like
not when they're sleeping.
So a lot of this is when the child's asleep in the back seat. That's when
The child's asleep, or you don't, I mean, children get quiet. You know,
Yeah.
when he left that restaurant, his intention was to take her out of the vehicle when he got home. It was never his intention to leave her there.
Right. How have you healed from that? How did your marriage stick together after that?
Our faith was the major thing that held us together. We as Christians believe that we get to see her again. As far as our marriage, forgiveness, I mean, it was that day I had to make the decision that I'm going to forgive my husband for something that was an accident, or I was going to destroy my family through my anger and my hate. So forgiveness was given right away. I mean, not that we haven't had our struggles, not that we haven't had a lot of therapy. 2 years after the accident happened, I approached my husband and said, I want to go public with this. Before, I was very, very protective of him. I would just say she died in a car accident. We had been foster parents. I had taught parenting for a living. And I said, we can't just sit here in this silence. We just can't sit here in this pain. If we don't share our story and it happens again in our state, I'm going to feel like it's my fault. So at that point, we decided to start sharing our story, what happened and how easily it can happen in order to hopefully save another life.
Can you remember the first time you told it publicly? I mean, was it at a press conference or an media interview?
It was at a press conference, and it was excruciating. It was absolutely excruciating. You want to talk about your baby, and you love your baby, and you want to smile, but at the same time, you're doing everything you can to hold back tears. And part of it is also knowing if I spend this 15 minutes and I share my pain for this 15 minutes, I might save somebody going through a lifetime of pain.
Do you feel like it's made a difference?
Absolutely. I've had lots of parents come up to me and say, if it wasn't for the grace of God, it would have been me. It was, 10 minutes or 5 minutes I left my child. I've had parents say, you speaking out has put a routine in our family that we just open the door and look before we lock. We'll never know how many people, because of the routines we've helped set in place or because of the lobbying we've done to get these alarms in place, how many lives we'll have saved.
So you were involved in the effort to get car makers to agree to make this standard that you would have this backseat alarm.
Yes,
how's it supposed to work? Like how would that?
So the system in place is supposed to give an alert that, just a reminder to check your back seat, just like it gives you an alert, put on your seatbelt. I'd like to see in more vehicles a system that senses the presence of life. That's not the one that was passed, but this is a system that can tell if an elder person, a dog, or even a child is left in a vehicle and will send out an alert.
How did it feel when you learned that this was going to happen, that at least in new cars, it was going to be standard?
I was excited. I was very excited. We had gone to Washington, D.C. with Kids and Car Safety and some other parents that have decided to, put their pain out there and talk to legislators. And it was nice to know that our voice was heard and we accomplished something.
So what are some of the things that you encourage people to do to prevent this if they don't have the built-in alert in their car?
Okay. So I always tell parents to look before you lock. Every parent, every time, open that back door. I mean, I've heard many a story where a parent put a child in the car or a child decided they were going bye-bye with mommy and daddy without the parent that was driving know the child was in there. Kids have been known to play hide and seek or want to drive like mommy and daddy and get themselves entrapped in the car. The other suggestion, in Arizona, you're not going to get very far without your left shoe. So put your left shoe in the back seat of your vehicle when the child is in the back seat, or put a stuffy reminder, put a stuffy in or a stuffed animal in the car seat when the child's not in there, but up front in your lap when the child is in the back seat. It's just that extra visual reminder that you have precious cargo.
Dawn Peabody is a parent advocate with Kids and Car Safety. She lives in Arizona. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for your advocacy. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for getting uncomfy with us today. I know it's a heavy one, hard to even think about. I'm grateful to Dawn for being willing to go to that really uncomfortable place with us so that we can try to avoid ending up in her situation. I'd love to hear about an uncomfy thing that you are embracing in your own life, something that you're taking a hard look at about yourself or about the state of the world today. Whatever it is, what are you learning by getting a little uncomfortable? Email us at uncomfy@byu.edu or find us on social media to connect. And in the meantime, if you love diving into thought-provoking discussions, check out my other podcast, Top of Mind with Julie Rose. Every episode tackles tough topics in a way that will push you to grow and think deeper, but also feel more empathy and optimism. You can find Top of Mind with Julie Rose on your favorite podcast app. Uncomfy is a BYU Radio podcast. Samuel Benson produces it, and the team includes Jake Hazelton and Sam Payne. Our theme music was composed by Kelsey Ney. I'm Julie Rose. Can't wait to get uncomfy with you again next week. Hey friends, if you are on the lookout for another awesome podcast, check out Constant Wonder. It's also from the BYU Radio Network. It's hosted by my friend Marcus Smith, and it is like embarking on an exhilarating journey through captivating stories about our magnificent natural world. As you listen, you'll gain profound insights into different facets of our planet. You'll discover more about nature. I've learned about whales and bees and nematodes from listening to Constant Wonder. And you might even find yourself pondering your own connection to the wonders of this earth. So wherever you usually get your podcasts, do yourself a favor and go check out Constant Wonder from BYU Radio.